I'm the Reverend Bill Selesny, the minister at Channing Memorial Church. Welcome now to our August 16th Channing Memorial Church Summer Web Service. A few weeks ago, I went out to try to see the comet Millwise. I'm not sure if I found it, though I think there was a smudge of light where the comet was supposed to be located. We were out in the very dark countryside, which gave me a magnificent view of the night sky, and what a wondrous sight it was to behold with the arc of stars overhead. Our guest presenter for today's service invites us to use the eyes of science to engage in a spiritual approach to seeing and being in the universe. The words for our chalice lighting today are by Eric Williams. In the beginning there was light, infinite and expansive, flowing out from an unseen center. Throughout creation there is light from our steady sun, the glowing moon, a flashing meteor, the twinkling stars, and the auroras dancing in the northern skies. With each part of creation there is light. And within us there is light, the same light as the source, the same radius that is in all creatures. May this small flame we now light be a constant reminder of our true nature and our kinship with all of creation. Janet Grant, the music director at Channing Memorial Church, now offers us a musical gift with the Prelude. Our presenter today is Channing Church member Jeff Thomas, who moves today to the front of the camera from his usual post behind the scenes as the behind-the-scenes tech person who assembles the various elements that comprise our weekly service. Jeff has been very active in the church. He has served as a worship associate and last year joined the choir. He's very interested in science and astronomy, which is the genesis of his talk today, which invites us to a spiritual approach to viewing the universe with the eyes of science. I present to you Jeff Thomas.
As the late astrophysicist Carl Sagan liked to say, we are made of star stuff. From the carbon in our skin to the nitrogen atoms in our bodies, they were all made thousands of light years away in stars that once were. Even our everyday surroundings, from the silicon in the rocks to the oxygen in the air we breathe, they were all synthesized billions of years ago in stars far away. And in that way, in a very deep sense, we are connected to the universe. And there's a kind of spirituality in that. When we look at the world with the tools of science, we can find a sense of awe, a sense of admiration, appreciation, and belonging, and very much so, spirituality. And that's what I'd like to talk about today, spirituality through the lens of cosmology. Let's take a walk. sunny day, you can turn your face upwards towards the sun and feel its warmth. From 93 million miles away, we acknowledge its strength. Our sun is an average, middle-aged, well-behaved star. Scientists tell us that stars like our sun formed in great bunches of clouds and dust in space. And in those clouds, impacts among the atoms heat the surrounding haze until hydrogen begins to fuse into helium and the stars turn on. Most new stars from the cloud haze stay together in binary or multi-star systems throughout their existence. But our little sun wandered out from its cloud nursery to journey on its own through the galaxy. So somewhere out in space there are stars that are siblings of the sun. They were born in the same cloud complex as the sun some 5 billion years ago, but we do not know which ones they are. There's a kind of sadness to that in a way, a sort of longing for the sun. It's an innate human tendency to place human emotions and traits on things. They even give it a name. It's called anthropomorphism. And I think it serves us well for the most part because it allows us to give more depth of thought on things that might otherwise seem indifferent or inconsequential, but in fact are important and do tell a story that we're all a part of. Our sun travels around the Milky Way galaxy. A galaxy, astronomers tell us, has some 400 billion other stars. And our galaxy moves among the at least 100 billion other galaxies in space. The immensity of this can sound unfathomable and perhaps come across as cold and distant and challenge a yearning for meaning. But for me, learning what the astronomers find and understanding the science can provide a sense of wonder and significance that is fulfilling indeed. Our sun is an average run-of-the-mill star, but for us here on Earth, it's the star of our life. However, out in space, there are many types of stars. Some are very large. Unlike the sun, some stars are so large that when they run out of hydrogen fuel, they blow themselves up. The explosion is called a supernova, and for a brief time, the explosion is brighter than all the other stars in the sky. It's through these explosions that individual nuclei, traveling almost at the speed of light, become what are called cosmic rays. And these cosmic rays of high-energy charged particles spiral through the galaxy for millions of years. Sometimes they eventually strike a planet like ours. Right now, you and I are being struck by cosmic rays. You can't feel it, but it's happening. Scientists tell us they don't do much damage, but over time, they can cause mutation in plants and animals, altering the genetic DNA sequence. The fossil record and the genetic evidence demonstrates that life on Earth evolved over 4 billion years to present day. Some of that evolution was triggered in part by cosmic rays from the deaths of stars that shined long ago. So in a very deep way, you and I are here because that happened. We are truly connected to the cosmos. The sun travels around the Milky Way galaxy, nowhere near the center where things look rather impressive. No, the sun inhabits the boondocks of the galaxy, wandering the sort of remote and forgotten suburbs. And with it, it carries the planets of our solar system. Some are large gas worlds. Others have rocky terrains. And of course, there is Saturn with its majestic rings. It is thought that perhaps one of its moons may have wandered too close to Saturn, and the gravitational tides tore it apart into the rings we see today. And then there's Jupiter, the largest planet in our solar system. so large that 1,000 Earths could fit inside it. Jupiter is a failed sun. There is no surface to Jupiter. It's a giant ball of hydrogen and helium. Had it been bigger, it might have undergone thermonuclear reactions and begun to shine. We would then be living in a binary star system, and the nights would come less often. Also, Jupiter might be the whole reason you and I are here at all. Throughout the history of the solar system, Jupiter's strong gravity has undoubtedly pulled in many comets and asteroids that would otherwise have barreled inward towards the inner solar system and struck the Earth. Jupiter's strong gravitational presence bought precious time for complex life forms on Earth, such as ourselves, to evolve. And then there's the planet Earth, our little planetary home. A lovely place with blue nitrogen skies, vast oceans, wonderful forests, and a stunning display of life and diversity. Our galaxy seems to have a countless number of planets, but so far in our initial exploration of the solar system and space beyond, we find only the Earth to harbor life. Though I'm sure there is life on numberless worlds, the fact that we haven't found any yet suggests that life doesn't come all that easy, and therefore, for blue-green worlds like our own, it should be valued, cherished, appreciated. Because if we were so foolish as to foul things up here, at present, there is no other place to go. When I think about the Unitarian Universalist principle of respecting the interdependent web of existence, I can think of no better reminder than just taking a walk on a summer's day. This tree and I help each other out. The trees and the other plants take in carbon dioxide from the air, and through photosynthesis, release it back into the atmosphere as oxygen. And then you and me and the other animals breathe in the oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. It's a wonderful arrangement. But there would be carbon dioxide in the air if we weren't here. We need the trees a lot more than they need us. I think for many of us, spirituality is found in being in and around nature, hiking a nature trail, strolling the seashore. Something about us knows and feels that connection. There's a sense of tranquility, a sense of clarity, and it centers us. And when we learn through science how we are tied to the cosmos and one another, I think it enhances that feeling. Our ancestors worshiped the sun, and they weren't foolish. It provided them with light and warmth and grew the food that sustained them. At night, they would sit around campfires and stare up at the starry sky, and they would note the position of the planets and the stars, because it would tell them when the herd would return, when to harvest, when to migrate. It made sense to worship the sun and the stars, because, in a way, we are their children. The stars are like portals to the past. We do not see them as they are, but instead as they once were. This is because the stars are so far away, it takes great stretches of time for their light to reach us. Light travels a little over 6 trillion miles in a year, a light year. So when we go outside and we look up at the night sky, we're really peering into the past. For instance, take the star Mizar in the handle of the Big Dipper. It's about 83 light years away. If Mizar suddenly went dark yesterday, we would not know of it for another 83 years. Live to be the age 83, and you can see what Mizar was like on the day you were born. So where did it all come from? All the clouds of gas and energy that made up the stars and the galaxies? How did that happen? The current scientific story reveals that it all began with a Big Bang nearly 14 billion years ago. All the matter and energy that would make up the universe blew apart from a single seed, smaller than an atom, and from it came the laws and forces of nature. The universe has been expanding ever since. Sounds crazy, huh? It's difficult for us to conceive of such colossal events outside of our everyday life and reality. But cosmologists and physicists have a pretty good understanding of the history of the universe from 1/100th of a second after the Big Bang to present day. So then, how did the Big Bang happen? We don't know. We lack a theory. We lack a theory on how the forces of nature would behave under such extreme circumstances. Many people are looking for that theory, and you'll hear things like quantum gravity or superunified theory. Or maybe we'll never know. For a lot of people, a god or gods created the universe. For others, they're content with the mystery. But I think it's the nature of human beings to ask questions and be curious. With the Big Bang at present being our best science, there is something beautiful about it. It means that you and I, in a deep sense, we were there. You and I and everyone you know and everyone who ever existed, all the stars, all the planets, all the galaxies, what would later become our atoms, we were all there together. We're kin. And there's an exhilarating feeling to that. You know, we all find spirituality in our own way. For me, it's thinking about cosmology and the science behind it. For you, it may be something else. Whichever way it is for you, I hope it's bright and uplifting. The Buddhists seem to have it down to 3 essentials. Have something to love, have something to do, have something to hope for. May you have essentials.
Unitarian Universalists often start prayers and meditations with the call to the spirit of life, that ineffable power or force in the universe that can guide and comfort us. Carolyn McDade gave body to that call with her song, Spirit of Life. I invite you to sing along or hum the melody, or just close your eyes and let this well-known song be your meditation today. The closing words to our service are inspired by the writings of Mary Eads. We are the living remnant of the original dust that formed the universe. Let your life and being shine like the stardust we are, so that the light of our time on earth will shine on to bless the world and each other. So be it. Amen.